Hey guys, it's Sarah with ExtremeTerrain.com, and today we have a review and install of the Barricade 3-inch bull bar in stainless, fitting your 16 and newer Toyota Tacomas. This bull bar features a heavy-duty 3-inch tubular stainless steel construction with an integrated skid plate, all in a polished finish. Coming in at around $170, this is one of the most budget-friendly ways to get a bull bar on the front of your Tacoma and add some style while you're at it. I'm giving this install a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. It can be done in approximately 1 hour and features a direct bolt-up install, but will require some minor trimming. All right, with that said, let's jump right into our install. For this install, we used a 16mm wrench, 13mm ratcheting wrench, 16, 14, and 10mm sockets, an air ratchet, an impact gun, and a pop clip removal tool. So the first step for our install is to remove this air dam on the bottom of your Tacoma's bumper. For this, you're going to want a 10mm socket, and let's get this off. Using your 10mm socket, remove the bolts holding your air dam to your bumper. Don't forget about the 2 bolts on the other side of the air dam. These also hold it on. There should be 2 on each side, on the opposite side of the air dam in the wheel well. With the bolts removed, remove your air dam. So one thing to note is that if you would like to reuse your splash guard, you will need to make 2 small cuts in it to clear the brackets that we just installed. Hold your splash guard up to the bottom of your bumper. Measure for your cuts. And just make sure not to cut into this top strip here so that it can still be held onto your bumper nicely. Now you don't have to reuse this if you don't want, and we like the look of it without, so we're gonna proceed with the install. So this portion of the install is optional, but we're going to remove the grille to get a better look at where these brackets are going and to get to them a little easier. Grab a 10mm socket and remove the 2 bolts out of the top of the grille. Next up, remove the 2 pop clips holding in your grille to your headlight. With all of the hardware out of the grille, pull up on the 2 plastic brackets on the top, and then pull the grille straight out. We're also going to remove these plastic air dams behind our grille. Remove the pop clip, and you should be able to slide these out. Pulling straight out to release the clips, you should be able to twist it and remove it. So with our grille and our air dams removed, we can now see the crash beam nuts that we have to remove. We're going to take off the 2 on the outside of our crash beam. We're going to start with this one on the top because it is easier to get to from this angle. Using your 14mm socket, remove this nut. So you do have to remove part of this splash guard in order to install the brackets. Ours has already been cut, but I have the piece here to demonstrate. You're just going to cut right along this frame piece here and then straight out just to clear about that much room for the bracket. And with this cut away, we can now see the bottom nut. Grab your 14mm socket and remove it. Grab the bracket marked P for passenger, slide it up through the hole that you just made, and over top of the studs with the top 2 holes. The 3rd hole should line up with a larger hole in your frame, and you can grab the included long hardware and get that through. Grab one of the large spacer washers and one of the larger bolts. Line up your spacer washer to the hole. Grab your long bolt and thread it through that part of the frame. Make sure you get both the spacer washer as well as the bracket. Once you have it through, grab a smaller washer, lock washer, and then a nut. Grab a 16mm wrench and a 16mm socket. You may need a swivel for this, and tighten these down. Replace the nuts over the factory studs. Grab your 14mm socket and tighten these down. Repeat those steps on the other side. Grab your bracket for the driver's side. Line it up over the two studs. Grabbing the longer hardware and your large spacer washers, line up your bolts through both spacer washers as well as the bracket. Grab your smaller washer, lock washer, and nut, and thread them over the end of the bolts. Using a 16mm socket and wrench, tighten this down. You may also need a swivel for this one. Grabbing your factory nuts, thread them over your studs to hold on your bracket. Grab your 14mm socket and tighten these down. With our brackets in place, we can now reinstall our air dams and put our grille back together. Slide the air dams in and line them up to your holes, and then snap in the pins. Once your air dam is in place, grab the plastic clip and reinstall it. At this point, we can reinstall our grille. Line it up to the front of the Tacoma. Make sure you're getting the pins on both sides lined up. Line up the two brackets on the top. Reinstall your hardware. Grab your 10mm socket and tighten these down. Reinstall the push clips at the corner of your headlights. Now that our grille is installed, let's shut our hood. With our brackets installed on our Tacoma, we can now install these smaller brackets onto the Bull Bar. Now these are not size specific, so just line them up to the holes and just make sure this bracket standing up is towards the outside. Grab your 8x35mm bolts and thread them in snug but still loose enough to be able to move this bracket around, because we will want the adjustability when we're mounting it on the Tacoma. Repeat that process with your other side. Line up the Bull Bar with the brackets on your Tacoma. You want to shoot for outside of the bracket here. Once you have it lined up, grab your hardware with a washer and lock washer and get it through your brackets. Repeat that process on the other side. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of adjustability here. Line this up with the front of your Tacoma so it's right where you like it, and then grab a 16mm wrench and 16mm socket and tighten it down at the bracket. Repeat that on the other side. Using a 13mm wrench, tighten down the bolts holding this bracket to your Bull Bar. Repeat that process on the other side. All right, so that's gonna do it for the review and install of this Bull Bar. Remember, for all things Tacoma, keep it at ExtremeTerrain.com.